All right, so today's linked video is brought to you by me. So I couldn't quite find what I was wanting on YouTube to kind of explain what I wanted to get past in this video. So I figured I'd just present it myself. So what I want to talk about is oil cooling nozzles. There's a few different names these go by: piston squirters, oil cooling jets, oil cooling nozzles, but they all do the same thing. So what happens is we've got oil in the oil pan and it gets sucked up by the oil pump, which is sending it to a couple of places through the oil galleys. And one of the places it's going is the oil cooling nozzle jets. Now every piston, which is right here, hopefully my drawing can convey, that's a piston. Every piston has its own. There's a main galley that runs down the block and these nozzles tie into it. Now they do a couple things. They cool the pistons. So as the oil shoots out, as the piston's going up and down inside the block, oil squirts out up into the piston. And there is a galley in the piston that goes across. Now inside this galley, it's actually probably a little bit higher up here by the oil control ring. What that does is it takes heat away from the piston crown. It's actually a little higher. It's about right here. It takes away the heat, or it helps remove the heat from the piston crown from the combustion, which is happening up here, right? So this piston's getting very hot. Now, it's not the only thing that cools the piston. A lot of that happens between the cylinder wall and the piston, and it also happens during valve overlap. But one of the main ways that piston is cooled is through the oil coolers. So the oil shoots up, circulates around inside the piston, especially as it's coming back down. There's a lot of pressure pushing that oil into the piston. And then it also is vented out through the control ring. It helps to spread that oil around evenly. So piston failure can happen from too much heat. And I'll put a picture up of a piston that got scored or is cracked because of lack of cooling. So sometimes these can get damaged. Either something can come loose inside and knock them off, or they can fail, the bolt can come out, or for some reason these nozzles can break and fall off. You'll lose that cooling to the underside of the piston. And when that happens, you can see one piston fail out of a whole set that gets overheated. And then one of the main things you have to be aware of with oil cooling nozzles is when we do go to remove the piston and rod assemblies, you have to remove the oil cooler nozzle. It has to be taken out of the way. The piston will not come out of the cylinder unless this nozzle is removed. So there's usually one bolt holding them up in. Different manufacturers use different methods. Some of these are actually from the outside. I believe it's like, I think the N14 came in from the outside and basically was a protrusion that pushed oil up. The ones we'll have to be dealing with in class are secured to the underside of the block, so on the inside. So before we take our pistons out and our rods, we need to make sure that these are removed.